Good morning. It is Friday, April the 29th, and this is The Drill. Welcome to all the butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers out there. And I'm Ron, your host, the only true conservative in the United States today. So after the, the Declaration for Spiritual Warfare, the Star-Spangled Banner, and the Pledge of Allegiance, we will have Collapse of Parenting, and Tales from My Bicentennial Year, the conclusion of the chapter on Yankee Stadium, No Free Lunch, and also the musical Glory, Glory, Hallelujah. The number, I haven't played this tune in quite a while, so I figure it's long past time for me to bring that back. So all that and more when I come back. Thank you. And now, the Daily Declaration for Spiritual Warfare for April the 29th. I will not permit the proud to oppress you. I will not leave you to your oppressors, and I will not let the proud oppress you. I will bless you because you put your trust in me, and do not respect the proud, nor those who turn aside to lies. Meditate on my precepts. Do not fear the oppressors, for I will put them to shame and revive you according to my loving kindness. I will destroy the house of the proud, but I will hear every prayer of the righteous. I will resist the proud, but I will give my grace to you if you remain humble. Behold, I have released you from the oppression of the wicked. I will multiply your life, and you will not be diminished. I will glorify you with my righteousness, and your children will be established. But I will punish all who seek to oppress you. Psalms 119, verse 122, Psalms 40, verse 4, Psalms 119, verse 88, 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 5, Jeremiah chapter 30, verses 19 through 20. Prayer declaration. Because I have placed my trust in you, O Lord, and have humbled myself and resisted the wicked intentions of the proud, you have blessed my life and set me free from the bondage of oppression. Because of your loving kindness to me, I will seek to bring your consolation and encouragement to others by becoming a servant to them and developing the same attitude as that of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. And that was the Daily Declaration for Spiritual Warfare for April 29th. Thank you. And now there's no free lunch. Quote, complete free trade is not politically feasible. Why? because it's only in the general interest and in no one's special interest, unquote. Milton Friedman. Perhaps it is a political statement as much as an economic one, but undoubtedly opposition to free trade comes from connected and particular interests, not the objective interests of the society at large. The domestic company who wants to cut off another domestic company from doing business with an international company is not looking to hurt the international company. They are looking to hurt the other domestic company who is their competitor. And that was, there's no free lunch. Thank you. So from the book, next up is the book about how we fail our children when we treat them like grown-ups, The Collapse of Parenting by Dr. Sachs. And in the book, Chapter 7, Misconceptions, I'm going to read this couple of paragraphs, and then I'm going to make a comment on it. When I meet with parents, some questions come up again and again, because this is, by the way, in the section about what to do, solutions. First section was about problems. This section is supposed to be about solutions. Parents want to do the right thing, but they're sometimes reluctant to try because certain misconceptions get in their way. We now have the foundation in place to address each of these misconceptions. Here's the first. Quote, I'm worried about a rebound effect. If I try to be the kind of parent you describe and I force my child to behave virtuously, whatever that means, then when she goes away to college and she's on her own, I'm worried she will do all the kinds of crazy things she wouldn't have done otherwise because I have prevented her from doing stuff she wants to do. She won't have learned how to make good choices on her own, unquote. A brief response from him. Longitudinal studies, such as those we considered in the previous chapter, are helpful in addressing this misconception, period. So that's as far as we need to go with that, because we don't need studies. We don't need studies. So when she's talking about here is that her kids are going to be, I'm guessing, let me see, I'm worried I don't know. She says what she's really claiming is that there is no difference. That in the end, her kids are going to do whatever the hell they want to do anyways. So why bother to have the conflicts and confrontations, normal conflicts and confrontations of parenting? And and what she's saying is also further that it's a good idea or the best idea to let her children learn by hitting every pothole in the road. Learn the hard way. That is not only immoral from a parenting standpoint, it is inhumane. Okay, and the first thing he should be addressing right away is telling this parent, if you're going to treat your children that way, if you're going to let all your children learn the hard way, you're going to let them go out and get drunk and then learn by getting a nasty hangover the next day, if not getting alcohol poisoning, if not getting themselves hurt or injured, staggering around, getting knocked over, tripping and hitting a wall, whatever, or getting in a car, driving drunk and getting themselves or somebody else killed. That's absolutely horrifying. And I don't want you as a friend. I don't want you as a colleague. I don't want you as a patient. If somebody like you shows up in my office, I throw you out immediately. And as soon as you're gone, I called Child Protective Services and tell them that they need to take your children away from you. If you don't give a damn about your children, then what you need to do, you can't be bothered to be a parent, then what you need to do is put them up for adoption. And so they can get a true, good, loving home. Now, second part to this is you're worried that they're going to go off to college and they're going to do all kinds of weird and crazy things. No, they won't. And this is where the doctor fails, he doesn't even think about this, that the key to being a parent and what makes a parent being different than a jailer or a supervisor or a nanny or something is experience. Okay? When you deal with your kids and you say, what happened in school today? And they're upset because I got bullied, I got teased, and you sit down with them, you take the time to sit down with them for a few minutes and explain to them, I've been there. It happened to me. When I was your age, I got teased too. You know what they said about me? Now you're developing a bond. And you don't stop there. You tell them what they should do about it. You tell them what worked for you. You tell them what did not work for you. Okay, if you did something and it turned out to be a disaster, you tell them, don't do it this way. That doesn't work. I tried it. It's no good. Do it this way instead. And you'll find that things are much better. That's the key. That's what's going to make the difference. Then when your kids are off at college, before they go out and do something wild and crazy, what are they going to do? They're going to pick up the phone and they're going to call you. And they're going to say, my friends want to go out and do something wild and crazy. What do you think? That's what they're going to do, because they will develop a love and a bond and with you that they cannot develop with their peers. It's just non-existent because their peers have no experience. Their peers are going to give them advice based on guesswork, supposition. You can give them advice based on life experience, and they're going to come to value that. Right? Who wouldn't want? It's like having a Wall Street insider for life. Who wouldn't want that? I wish I had that. I wish I had parents and foster parents that were like that. Unfortunately, I didn't. So I did have to learn everything the hard way. And it's no good. It's no fun. It's a waste of time. So that's the thing that he is forgetting here, Dr. Sachs, is that parents, there's more to parenting than just being the prison guard, jailer, disciplinarian, you're going to eat your vegetables or else. There's more to it than that. It is providing that vital life experience that your children lack. And when you start giving them that advice, they take advice, they go to school, and they're going to come back and they say, Mom, it worked, it worked, it worked. Dad, it worked, it worked. You were right, you were right, you were right. And you have now developed a lifelong bond. They're going to come back to you over and over and over again for advice instead of your way, which is to have them learn by hitting every pothole in the road, which is absolutely disgusting. That's the way he should have handled it. Back in a minute. Thank you. And now the chapter 24, the third part of chapter 24, the final part of chapter 24, which is Yankee Stadium from the book Tales from My Bicentennial Year, story of the Buell family, told by Michael Buell, one of the kids, and they grew up in Gansevoort, New York, in the Adirondacks. So in Yankee Stadium, they've gone ahead and the three dads and a bunch of the kids all got in the station wagon. They drove 5 hours to Yankee Stadium to watch the Yankees play the Red Sox. So they had some misadventures along the way, but they finally got to Yankee Stadium, got up to their seats, which was way, way up high. And so at this particular point, it was after the third inning, it was a tie game. Catfish Hunter was pitching for the Yankees, and Joe Pole was pitching for the Dick Pole, was pitching for the Red Sox. So this is the last part of chapter 24. We were having fun watching the hawkers. They would come up the stairs yelling, "Beer here, get your cold beer here." My dad waved his hand, and up he came. "4 buds, please," said my dad. The beer guy gave him 4 cans of Budweiser for all the dads. Another one came up yelling, "Popcorn, peanuts, Cracker Jacks." We all yelled at the dads for some Cracker Jacks. My dad waved his hand, and up he came to our row. Dad passed down a Cracker Jacks for each kid. The best thing about Cracker Jacks was the prize. I tore open my box and dug down, spilling half of them on the floor. Huge Gene reached down and grabbed my Cracker Jacks off the floor, saying, 5-second rule, it's okay. He then wolfed them down. I reached down in the box and managed to find the prize. A stupid ring. What the heck am I supposed to do with a plastic ring? The nice guy that I am, I gave it to my sister Kathy, who also got a ring. Everyone got a ring. Kathy had more rings than fingers. The fourth, fifth, and sixth innings went by much the same way. Catfish was on his game, throwing strike after strike. Dick Pole was managing to hang in there. A few people had been on base, but still no runs. The game was a classic, Mr. Tidwell told us. A bona fide pitcher's duel. He said when you get in the groove, you block everything else out. He was saying that Catfish was probably unaware that he was playing in front of 50,000 people. I thought, in his mind, he was probably playing in his old childhood ballpark, throwing against his version of the Third Streeters. Old Catfish got up again to pitch the top of the seventh inning, and down the Sox went. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. All the dads looked at us and told us to stand up. It was time for the seventh inning stretch. Over the PA system, they played the classic song, Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Everyone was up and cheering and dancing. It was a blast. Just as we sat down, I felt it. The urge to go. You know what I mean, the stomach cramps. You feel that any second your butt is going to explode poop all over. I had the vision of my butt spraying the entire crowd with poop. I had to go. Dad, I yelled, I gotta go. What? Go where? He yelled down at me. I put my hand over my stomach and said, you know. With that, he stood up, rolled his eyes, and waved me over to him. I moved past the dads as quick as I could. I got to the aisle standing there. My dad looked down at Kathy and said, don't you have to go too? Let's go, which meant she had to go whether she wanted to or not. You know you ate too much crap today. I knew this was going to happen, he said. Somehow I was in trouble because I had to go to the bathroom. I was in no position to argue, though. I had to go. The three of us climbed down the stairs. I was almost running down the stairs. I was afraid the explosion was about to occur. We managed to get under the stands and worked our way through the crowds, and finally there was the men's room. I was relieved. Then Kathy piped up with, what about me? I can't go in the men's room. I'm a girl. This was all I needed. I needed to get in the bathroom, and now, another obstacle. My dad looked around for the girls' room. It was some 20 feet away. The line was out the door and down the hall. My dad shook his head in disbelief. I don't know. I can't go in the ladies' room. I guess we didn't think of this. Your mother is always here. He looked down again, and there was a lady with a uniform on in front of the bathroom. My dad went over to her and explained the situation. Sure, I'll keep an eye on her, and then she can stand with me when she's done, and you come back, she said. Kathy nodded her head, but I could tell she was not thrilled at being dumped off in a line with a stranger, even if the stranger was the Yankee Stadium ladies' room employee. That was good enough for me. I was now pulling Dad to the men's room. The urge was still there. At last, we made it to the bathroom. Unfortunately for me, while there was no line for urinals, there was a line for the stalls. Boy, did I need a stall. We stood in line, and finally a guy came out. My dad sent me in. It was disgusting. Dad, this is gross. I can't go here, I yelled. You don't have a choice. You're here to go. Go. Don't sit down on it. Squat or something, he said. So I squatted over the disgusting bowl and took care of business. I was now relieved, or so I thought. I reached over for some toilet paper, and there was absolutely none. I panicked. Dad, there's no TP, I screamed out. Jace, Jesus Christ, he yelled. What next? Hey, does anyone have any TP they can throw over? No one answered. God damn it, my dad yelled. He was getting pissed now. He rarely swore, but when he did, he was pissed. Thing is, I wasn't sure if he was pissed at me, the other guys not giving me TP, or the fact that he had one kid in the men's room and the other in the ladies' room with a stranger. Oh, use your socks, he said. That's right. Use your socks, take them off, wipe your ass, and let's go. But these are the new socks Mom just bought me. She'll kill me, I protested. Either use your socks or I'll kill you, he bellowed. Then, to my surprise, he said, listen, I have to go get your sister. Meet us in front of the ladies' room. It's right across the hallway. You got that? Yeah, I guess, I said nervously. No, I guess. Do you have that? Meet me at the ladies' room right across the hall. You got that? He yelled back. Yes, I got it, he said. I said. He was pissed. In the meantime, I had to figure out how to get my ass wiped. I slipped off my Converse sneakers, with which my socks on my feet stunk. But that was not my biggest concern at this point. I could not bring myself to sit on the toilet, so I was standing up trying to get my tube socks off while standing on my sneakers. I finally managed. I got done what needed to get done. I will spare you the ugly details. I flushed the toilet and ran out of the room and over to the ladies' room. There was Dad and my sister. You manage okay, he asked. Yeah, all set, I said. We crossed the hallway and were almost knocked over by a crowd of men running out of the men's room, with a tidal wave of brown water following them. My dad looked over at me laughing and said, Let me guess, you put the socks in the toilet and flushed them down. I guess so, I said. With that, we ran past the tidal wave and up to our seats. It was the top of the 9th inning. Where are your socks? Little Brad piped up. Leave me alone, I said. Old Catfish was still pitching a shutout. According to Big John, Catfish looked as fresh in the 9th inning as he did in the 2nd. Dick Pole continued to hang in there with Catfish. Score was still 0-0. The buzz of extra innings was talked about. This is where Kathy and I started to worry for the first time that Dad was going to want to go. It would be our doom if at the end of 9 innings, with the game still tied and heading into extra innings, that dear old Dad was going to want to leave. Everyone was into the game, and hopefully Dad was too. Dick Pole came out pitching to Willie Randolph, the star shortstop of the Yankees. Willie cranked a line drive to right field. He's as fast as lightning, Big John was pointing at him as he rounded first, but he suddenly stopped in his tracks and dove back towards first. Dick Pole walked back to the mound and hunkered down. Roy White, the left fielder, was up. He squared up his bat to bunt. Bunting, according to my dad, was an art form. Too many guys get it wrong. They try and hit the ball with a kind of a short slap. The best way to bunt is to square up, hold the bat out with one hand on the top of the bat and the other on the bottom, and instead of hitting at the ball, try and catch it with the bat. Roy White did it perfect. A little dribble down the first base line, moving Willie to second base with one out. Next up was Thurman Munson, the captain of the Yankees. Mr. Pole better be careful with him, Mr. Tidwell said. 4 pitches later, he walked to first base. 2 runners on first and second with no outs. Not looking good for our Sox. Darrell Johnson, the Sox manager, and Fisk ran to mound from home plate. That's it for him, yelled Big John. They gave Pole the hook and brought out Tom House. He at least managed to get the Sox out of the inning by striking out Chris Chambliss and then a ground out to somebody else. We were in extra innings. Amazingly, we were still in our seats and not headed to the car. It was the top of the 10th inning, and Catfish was still pitching. This would never happen in today's game. Today, every pitcher has a role assigned to him. You have starters, setup men, 8th inning guys, closers, relief pitchers. Heck, back then you pitched until you were worn out. It was a sense of pride to pitch a complete game. You don't hear of it anymore. Anyway, Catfish mowed him down in the 10th as well. The game went on till the bottom of the 11th, still tied 0-0, when finally the Yankees scored 1 run off a single to knock in Willie Randolph from third. It was pretty sad watching the whole 11 innings and having your team lose, but the game was still great. I could not believe we actually stayed for the whole thing. We actually marched down through the herd of people, down the stairs, under the stands, around the food vendors, where my dad bought a cup of coffee for the road, and we wound our way out to the parking lot and finally to the car. My dad was right. There was the Plymouth Fury 3 gypsy wagon pointing right towards the exit and the road. We got right out and on the road. I think we all slept all the way home. And that was the last part of chapter 24, Yankee Stadium, from the book Tales from My Bicentennial Year by Mike Buell, about a family in upstate New York. And next time, chapter 25, The Great Memorial Day Trouble. Back in a minute.
Chapel Choir.
Thank you. I'm Ron, your host, and the only true conservative in the United States today, bidding adios to all of the butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers, and reminding you to listen to the John and Ken Show on KFI AM 640, Monday through Friday from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Also, KFI needs to bring back Brian Suits and his show, The Dark Secret Place. Hashtag bring back Brian Suits. Until next time, be honest, be smart, be beautiful, and remember that the left has no authority, no power, and they can't win.